the center of that suspension hanger, I'm not even kidding you, check this out, this is ridiculous. We are at under 2 inches to the ground, this piece touching the ground, which means if I go over a speed bump, when the speed bump makes it to the center of the tires, it's likely going to impact that. Okay, so if you didn't watch the last video where I featured this trailer and a project to replace the factory equalizer right here, which is a non-suspension type equalizer, I had put this Moride Alltrek 4000 on to quickly realize that all of this material down here made this piece so it was only about 1.5 inches to 2 inches off the ground, which means I would probably contact anything that stuck above the ground that rolled between the axles, which was actually a pretty good likelihood. Speed bumps, stuff like that, curbs, and yeah, I just didn't want to deal with that. I checked the road armor, which this one is kind of similar. You can see that the 2 shackle mounts right here sit up a little higher, maybe about 1/2 inch higher. The mounting location being right here, and the amount of material below these 2 mounting locations is like 4, maybe 3 inches here, and like 4.5 inches here. So neither one of these would be a good choice for the dump trailer, mainly because this has what's called, I guess you would call this overslung axles, where the axles are on top of the leaf springs versus a lot of trailers where they're beneath the leaf springs. And when we look under here, you can see that there's actually the cradle right there, which cradles the axle itself. So let me show you what we've installed here and what we're going to be replacing, or what we've already replaced half of this trailer's suspension with. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so another product that we compared during our RV suspension comparison series was this Dexter EZFlex. Now it's kind of cool because it matches the red trailer, but this one utilizes a compression bushing, which is a rubber bushing right in the middle there. And as the suspension moves, it squeezes that rubber puck. It's a very, very firm system, which actually probably would lend it to being better for this application. But what's nice about this is that assembly doesn't hang down very far below the 2 shackle mounts, which is going to make it a lot more ideal for this application. And I think we'll probably have significant enough clearance there not to worry about it at all. Still implementing the use of the grease zerk right there. I tried to put these in, which are the Moride 1/2 inch thick shackle plates, to replace the 1/4 inch thick, but because these are a lot shorter, they pretty much would have been completely flat like this, which is not ideal for a trailer. It can actually cause your equalizer to flip kind of in a wonky location, and I didn't want to deal with that. So wasn't able to put these in, but because this assembly is a little narrower than the factory one, it's going to give me a little bit of an increase in height. And if you recall, when I measured the stock height from the ground to the bottom of the wheel covers right here, the tire covers, it was 30.25 inches. So it's going to be interesting to see if I really gain any suspension clearance by utilizing this or not. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one to look at. One thing that I've noticed though, when I compare how they've attached the equalizer hanger to that of like an RV. First of all, you can see how this front spring is actually attached to a notched out section of the C-channel, and then they've welded a bracket below it right here to support it. That's pretty cool, and that would probably eliminate any risk that that could break off. You'd pretty much have to wear through all this material in order for the suspension hanger to fail. So that's kind of a cool design. I kind of wish that RV manufacturers would do something similar and just have a lot more material right here that the leaf spring mounts into, because it would definitely reduce the chance that there would be a failure. Or switch to a system like, you know, like the CURT Touring suspension, which is a new system on the market, which utilizes coil springs as well as a trailing arm and shock absorbers. Kind of like the off-road suspension you see on a lot of trailers, but you're starting to see it a lot on like your fifth wheels, which is something you never really saw in the past. Folks at Alliance are putting it on a lot of their paradigms. So right here, again, this should work pretty well. I think that we're going to get the suspension articulation we're looking for. I think we'll get the clearance from the ground we're looking for. But also look at the center hanger. Look how they've done this. They actually created kind of a boxed section, a cross member that goes all the way across that ties to the same continuous weld up here, and then this is your hanger for the suspension component. This is a really, really cool way of doing it, and it would be really nice to see the RV industry move the same direction, because you have all of this continuous weld going around, you have this bracket hanging here, and then you have this big angle iron that kind of reinforces it side to side. That is a really great way, in my opinion, of building this out. And it would probably, in almost all cases, reduce the chance or eliminate the chance that this could ever fail or come off. The only other area I think they probably could have added is a continuous weld right here. But this is still a really good setup. That looks really nice. Anyways, again, we're in the process of swapping this out. Watch the last video if you want to see the installation of how all this is done, mainly because I wanted to kind of get this done because I need to use this trailer, and I didn't want to try to film and move the thing around a lot because I actually have to use the trailer today. So the last video shows you the steps of taking everything out, adjusting the jacks so you can move things where it needs to go to allow the shackle hangers to actually go through easily, how to remove the old bushings, all of that stuff. But yeah, we're going to finish this project off. We'll drop it down when we're done, and we'll take another measurement to see if we've actually increased the height or possibly decreased it. But I do think we'll increase it a little bit. But it'll be interesting to find out. Probably just a tiny bit. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I'm going to say 30, maybe and a half or 30 3/4 inches of overall height when we're done. Anyways, let's get this thing knocked out. Okay, so I am done. The trailer is off of the jacks, and we have our new Dexter EZFlex suspension in place. And yeah, we have a tremendous amount of additional clearance over the system that was here before, the Moride that I installed. So you definitely want to be careful if you're going to upgrade the suspension on your trailer, what different technology is going to mean from a clearance perspective. If you have overslung axles, which means you are slung over the top of the leaf spring and not underneath it, it's going to severely limit how much stuff can hang down from this area. Sorry, it's real windy outside, so you're probably hearing my garage doors banging around. We now have 6 inches of clearance, whereas before we had 1.5 inches. That is absolutely crazy. And again, I think we've probably raised the trailer up a bit over what the stock height is, but I'm not going to imagine it's by much. So let's go ahead and measure it. I'm guessing, like I said, maybe 30.5, 30 3/4, somewhere in that range. Let's see. Actually, 30 1/4. Exactly where we were before we started this entire adventure. So yeah, we're not actually sitting any higher or any lower, which is really nice. Now, this is a good upgrade. This is not going to provide as much suspension damping as you might get with some of the other systems from Moride or Lippert. But this is a very tried and true and very robust system. So that's really nice, and plus the fact it matches the trailer as well. It's definitely a system that's going to provide shock against some of the really, really sharpest jolts. And again, when you're talking about a dump trailer, it's really not that big of a deal. If you saw the beginning of the video I did with the other system, it was really just to put a system in place because I have a couple of these, and I wanted to just add it to a trailer that could support it. And this is my only construction style dump trailer that has a traditional leaf sprung suspension without some, super heavy duty equalizer that wouldn't fit anyway. So I was able to do a couple upgrades here. I was able to, of course, add the Dexter EZFlex, which is going to give it that rubber suspension now, as well as a greasable wet bolt in the middle there, which is going to allow me to kind of add a little bit of service life to all of this as well. But overall, it's a pretty quick upgrade. I was able to do this today because I wasn't filming the process in about 45 minutes. When I did the other system, which shouldn't really take any longer, it's the same process, it took me nearly 3 hours to make a video that was about 20 minutes long. So a lot of people don't realize when you are filming content, the ability of you to just buzz through something is limited by the fact that you have to stop, slow down, and film projects and film different aspects of it and zoom in, zoom out, move the camera around, and move your equipment around, change miking positions, all sorts of different things have to kind of go into making videos. So yeah, 45 minutes versus 3 hours had I been filming this. And you can always go back and watch that video if you want to see the process of doing this. It's a very simple process. Overall, good upgrade. Again, kind of a strange application to put it on a dump trailer, but I have the system. It fits this one. I have the ground clearance I'm looking for now, and it looks really nice too. So, cosmetics always matters to some folks, and in the case of this, it's cool to see that it actually looks a little nicer. That said, the only other thing I did today was I dropped my coupler down one hole. I realized I had mounted that a little higher than I needed to, and it was making me have to set hitches in a different height in order to pull this thing level. So now that we've dropped it down one spot, it's going to make it a little easier to adjust, especially with the Denali half-ton which sits a little lower. But yeah, very cool upgrade. There are links in the description of my videos to all of this stuff if you want to do upgrades like this. This is stuff you can pick up from eTrailer. They're my channel sponsor. They're who provided this. So definitely go to eTrailer if you're looking at doing any type of upgrade to your RV, to your dump trailer, to your cargo trailer, your race trailer, your boat trailer, to your vehicle, your SUV. You want to do, you know, crazy modifications. They probably have it. And they also carry just about every hitch on the market, including Gen Y, B&W, WaySafe, Shocker, Bulletproof, CURT, Reese, tons and tons of brands, and they'll probably have just what you're looking for if you're looking to upgrade your trailer, your truck, your towing experience, and the equipment, plus all sorts of new stuff as it comes out. They have a section that specifically goes over new stuff that they're carrying, and some of that stuff is super innovative and cool, and I try to get my hands on it so I can show you that stuff as it comes out. Anyways, guys, please drop a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think of the new suspension we've added. Certainly looks a lot better, and it gives me the ground clearance I'm looking for and some serviceability, which is nice. But yeah, I'll put a description. But yeah, check out the links in the description. Anyways, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we will talk to you again very soon with hopefully another fun project.